MMA Mania.
All right, Steve, go ahead.
All right, Rudy, this is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm excellent. I want to start right out with the basics because as impressive as your fights have been that I've seen, including your last one in Bellator, there's not a whole lot about you that I've found. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into MMA in the first place.
Well, I was a wrestler. I grew up wrestling. My brothers were 6 and 8 years older than I am, and at that time when I was a kid, I just wanted to do everything they did, and they wrestled. And so I just pestered my mom everything I could to get on the wrestling mat. And they let me get on the mat, and I wasn't very good. Then eventually things changed. And down the line, I went to college and wrestled in college. And I was trying to make a football happen. I wanted to play football. I wanted to be a football player. But, school just kind of didn't really work out in my favor. And I had some troubles with that here and there. And I found myself, after my second time losing scholarship to grades and academics, I found myself in the oil field working as a derrick hand, and I kind of had a few experiences where it was time to leave. I needed to come home and try to be a professional athlete and use my abilities before they were gone. So I came home and started training with Matt Limlin at Team Quest, and started my amateur career, and that was back in 2016 or 14 or 15.
Well, I've got amateur fights on your record going all the way back to 2013.
13, yeah, there you go. That would have been, 2013. That's when I moved back from the oil fields and started training.
When you say you had older brothers, you said they were 6 and 8 years older. Were you eventually bigger than them when you put on your size and became the fighter you are now?
I am, yes, absolutely. They're like 5'10", 160, 170. I'm 6'4", 250.
They must have had their minds blown like, whoa, little brother ain't little anymore.
Yeah, they introduced me as their little big brother.
My sister always used to do the same thing. She'd call me her little brother, and I'd just lean on her head when she did that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my brother came. My middle brother went to the Marines, and when he came back from boot camp, I was like 15 years old, and him and I got into this fight, and he ended up winning the fight, but he told me later down the road, like years later, he was like, that was the day I decided I wasn't going to try you ever again. And I was 15.
Well, that has certainly worked out in your favor because as you put on that size and you had that wrestling ability, it translated naturally into mixed martial arts.
It did, yes.
And it's also translated into very fast finishes because I can't speak for all your amateur fights, but as far as your pro fights, none of them have gone out of the first round.
No, they haven't. 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 3 seconds is my longest fight.
Just what contributes to such explosiveness out there? What makes you able to finish so fast?
Well, Tyrell apparently doesn't agree, but it's my athleticism. I'm athletic, but my athletic ability is what allows me to move I have a solid, dense bone, I think, and I'm able to hit what I'm trying to hit and move my hands quick enough to create enough force to put them down. And that was all pretty much just raw ability. I've only been working with this Andy Minsker is my striking coach now, and I've only really been dedicating the last maybe like less than a year. I've been working with him like religiously, and my striking is a lot cleaner and a lot more technical, a lot harder punches with less effort, and I'm looking forward to showing everybody the work I've been putting in.
If it's anything like what I saw against John Hill and Vernon Lewis, it's undoubtedly going to be impressive in this fight with Tyrell, but you sort of indicated that he doesn't think he considers you an athlete. I don't know what exactly he said, but maybe you can enlighten me.
Well, I was told when he was asked if how he felt about the fight, he told that person he wasn't worried about it. I'm not an athlete.
Oh.
I just heard that just from the person I talked to before you. So, and I had just got done telling that person that I don't think Tyrell respects me. I don't think he's ever respected my abilities. I don't think he's ever thought I was on his level or as an equal. And I'm going to take advantage of that
Well,
full-heartedly.
absolutely, because that's the biggest mistake a fighter can make is underestimating their
Oh yeah,
opponent or dismissing their ability. That's motivation for you and shows that he hasn't scouted you at all.
yeah, I think so too. I'm saying that Tyrell is my toughest fight so far. I think I have the advantage. I think I will win, but I'm giving him everything I have, and I totally respect his wrestling abilities. And but this is a fight he has not showcased any. The last fight he put someone down with his hands, and that was good. But I don't think he's showing the what he hasn't shown what I've shown, and I'm not a stand-up backgrounded guy. Like I said, I've only been doing it for a few years, and I feel very confident in it. And I'm taller and longer than Tyrell is. I have the reach advantage, so that's going to be in my favor. I'm not. This is my first idea for opponent, but I'm not. I'm confident, and I've been training as I'm going to have to fight everybody in the weight class eventually, so it doesn't to get where I want to go. So now is the time. Bellator wants it to happen now, so they signed the paychecks, and so I gotta make it happen. He thinks I asked for this fight. He's taken it personal. Apparently, he thinks that I've gone out of my way to call him out and make this about him. His name was on the other end of a phone call 5 weeks ago, and that's about it. So
I just find it a good coincidence when you say you've got to fight everybody else in the division eventually, because virtually this entire card is your division, save for like one fight.
yeah, true that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Without Bader and Congo, that's pretty much the whole division right there.
So which of these guys
Yeah.
would you like to fight after this night is over?
After this night is over, the guy I would like to fight, I'm not sure exactly. I think Mitrione and I are very similar in like our we're pretty close to the same size, and we both have that kind of quick, explosive athleticism. And I think I would like to stay shy, or that would be kind of my matching me would probably be the worst case scenario. So other than that, I would probably like to fight Fedor. I like to get one back for Chael.
Well, you are a Team Quest guy, so I can't blame you for that.
Yeah. And I train with him currently. I mean, I was training with him for that fight against Fedor, and then he retired, so he hasn't been around. But, when we changed to America Top Team, he was there. And when we've been at Gracie, he's been there. And that's actually one of the, I've been forgetting to bring up that. Chael is one of the reasons I got into fighting as well. He was around at CCC when I was wrestling, when I was competing, when I was wrestling with Tyrell Fortune, when we were teammates. Chael was coming in and working out with us. And that was kind of what, seared in the back of my mind. Well, if I could fight if I wanted, if it came to a point where I just, wanted to, I could probably try fighting with the wrestling background and see where that, takes me. And cause I was 23 at that time. So I didn't know that I was going to be fighting at that time or not. And, but it definitely put it in my mind that, oh man, wrestlers are good fighters. That's something I could look into, or I should look into if I made it down the road. Because I don't know if I said it to you or not before, but I was a football guy. I wanted to play football. I didn't really talk to wrestling coaches in college, from colleges, because I'm playing football. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to wrestle. If your school has wrestling where I'm playing football, I might come out, but that was kind of my mindset. And then it turned out I was actually a better wrestler. I have more accommodations for wrestling than I do playing football, so that kind of works out differently sometimes, you think.
Right. Well, one of the reasons that I think that's a cool part of the story is because Chael also, even though he had that wrestling background, what really made Chael a success in the industry was that he took his personality and cranked the volume up to 11 And that is as
Yeah,
much an example as he set as anything else because people have imitated that style in order to make themselves stars.
absolutely. I like to take things that he does absolutely, model, social media, and model some of the media stuff that he does. The line that he dropped on Tito when he said the only person around here making money with their mouth is your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Dude, that kind of clever trash talking is what I want to model myself after. I mean, that was quick and just, it was, you had to listen to what he was saying, but Connor, I like, he puts himself in the limelight, but he's just, it's almost to the point where, he's cutting people off and they're trying to talk and he's just saying, it's almost like he's Brick, from Anchorman. Loud noises. I love lamp. And so I would rather people listen to what I have to say, and when I say it, boom, drop the mic, have people really pay attention. So, and I think Chael does that. Chael does a really good job of dropping these lines in here. You have to listen to what he's saying, and then he drops this little hammer in there that you have to pay attention to, and that's definitely something I hope I can incorporate into my gimmick or my what do they call it? My character outside of the cage.
Actually, both words fit because I'm a pro wrestling guy, so I use gimmick and character interchangeably.
Okay, perfect. Because
And
that's what it is. I tried out for the WWE. I went to Florida, and I went to Florida Championship Wrestling for a week and tried out. And they made me go in front of a camera for 1 minute and do a promo video, and I was terrible, absolutely terrible. And I've always thought, I was like, man, I respect these guys. I always kind of thought it was a joke, but then it actually takes a lot of skill to put together and stay in a character like they do, and create something that people like. And I think Chael's Bad Guy Inc. and the American Gangster, the way he was able to do that is really cool.
yeah, and to me, I always wanted to see him cross into that world. I mean, we've seen how good other people have done with it, with like Floyd Mayweather and Ronda Rousey stepping into that world. I've always thought, Chael, if you could
Yeah.
just for like 5 minutes show up at a WWE event and cut a promo on Vince McMahon, everybody would fall in love.
I think you're right. I think so too. Did you see him on The Apprentice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's perfect, man. He's so good at that, at that game.
Yeah, and to this day, my co-host on Glove Up or Shut Up, his favorite of all time is still the Bellator media press conference for Madison Square Garden, where he said, "This is the personality of Wanderlei Silva," took off his shoe and put it on the desk.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
He kills
Yes.
it.
You can't.
So
He's too good.
hopefully you've got some big bombs like that you're ready to pipe drop. Anytime that Tyrell Fortune opens his mouth anymore, you can just let a few of those go and let him know who the boss is.
Yes, I do have a couple ready. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any of them that you don't use in these media calls, you can always save them for the Bellator cage when you knock him out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. Yes. I'll save that for them.
All right. Rudy, this has been a really fun call, and I know you've got more people waiting to talk to you. But before I let you go, I want you to give any plugs, any social media mentions, any shout-outs, any sponsors you'd like to thank.
I like John Watkins at Feed Me, Fight Me. Thank you very much for helping me out with content on my social media. He's trying to help me promote that social media. So I appreciate what he's doing for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rudy, as well, and have a great fight with Tyrell Fortune here at this big Bellator card in Bridgeport.
Thank you very much.
No problem, and thank you,
Have a
Dennis.
good day.
You too.